DC, but they don't get better than this.
Yeah, the Dodgers a little bit banged up. They have some of their lefties, like Gonzalez and Chase Utley, sitting against Gio tonight. But you look at this whole series, it really is 3 days that could be a microcosm of something much bigger.
And when you have Gio Gonzalez pitching game one, if he can steal this one tonight, then you got Max Scherzer and Steven Strasburg. The game on Wednesday, Strasburg against Clayton Kershaw, just ridiculous. We can't wait for that one.
Gio 4-1. He's already won a game on this trip at San Fran. Good career numbers against the Dodgers. And Ryu 2-5. It's been a little up and down for him this year. More on pitching straight ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Hello again, everybody. Check, 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 check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
My headset's on my head, bitch.
Check, check.
We're on Madison, right, Chipper? Sounds amazing.
Check, check.
Turn it up.
A place that seems larger than life when you've come from any other ballpark in the National League. So the series probables we told you about tonight, Max Scherzer and Brandon McCarthy. Nats haven't seen a whole lot of McCarthy career. And then the big one on Wednesday afternoon, 2 of the 3 7-game winners in the National League.
Yeah, that one on Wednesday is ridiculous. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to tonight. 2 great ball clubs collide. This is the matchup of the night in Major League Baseball.
So Gio career against the Dodgers. He's won his last 3 starts, and in 5 starts, 3-1 with a 1.69 ERA. They're going to load up on some right-handers tonight, like teams usually do against him. And this is their 30-year-old left-hander. He's had a lot of injuries over the last couple of years. Rue, 26 starts as recently as 14, only 15 and 16 combined. How about the shortstop comparison? Corey Seager and Trey Turner. Both young budding stars, both can pick it, both have great arms, they're athletes, they can hack. That'll be a little subplot, maybe not a little one, to this very important series. BNC Bank for the achiever in you. And by the Lexus RX, featuring a pre-collision system with pedestrian detection. Standard. Just north of downtown LA, where all that traffic converges. Beautiful Dodger Stadium. Capacity 56,000. Dodgers lead the major leagues in attendance, over 44,600 per game. Here come the Nats. 279, 314 runs, 86 homers. And first of all, it's 69. The humidity is 70. Beautiful night at Dodger Stadium. Daniel Murphy is a true road warrior for the Nats. Second behind JT Realmuto at 378. Ryan Zimmerman, by the way, right behind him at 364. So the Nats have some bats that do not fade away when they go on the road. Ryan Rayburn. He was with the Syracuse Ball Club. He was on the bus between Syracuse and Pawtucket when he got the call, and here he is in the lineup against Hyun-Jin Ryu.
All right, last pitch Wednesday against the Cardinals. Gave up 1 run on 3 hits in 6 innings. Got the no decision, the Dodgers 2-1 win. 4 strikeouts, 1 walk in his 77 pitch effort. So fastball 89, slider curveball change. Change is a good one. Was recently demoted to the bullpen for a 1-inning stint. Got the start against the Cardinals and was the old Ryu.
Goes off speed, first pitch of the game, right on time. 10-10 DC time. Trey Turner 309 his last 15 games. Came alive with a couple of hits and a walk yesterday in Oakland. There goes the bat, and this one backhanded by the shortstop. Corey Seager takes care of it.
Here's a defense for the Dodgers. Gutierrez, Eibner, Puig the outfield. Seager, Forsythe left side. Taylor Hernandez right side. And Austin Barnes behind the plate. Don't know a lot of these names. A different Dodger lineup. There's Corey Seager. Nats fans know all about him. One of the best young shortstops in baseball.
And here's Ryan Rayburn. Solid big league career. 91 homers, 352 RBIs. One of the reasons he's valuable in there tonight, he has a career 827 OPS against left-handed pitching. Rayburn, 36 years of age. Nats signed him. Actually got him in a trade with the White Sox for a player to be named later at the end of May. He had already been at AAA for them. 19-year veteran crew chief Ted Barrett has the plate. Angel Hernandez first base. Chad Whitson at second. Lance Barksdale third.
Ted, one of the best ball strike umpires in baseball. Be a fair zone for both sides tonight. Famous last words.
0-2 to Rayburn. Interesting story. He was with Charlotte. The White Sox AAA. They were playing Syracuse in Charlotte when he found out he'd been traded to the team on the other side of the diamond. That happened after they left town, so he had to take a drive down to Gwinnett and meet them there. Now here he is back in the big leagues. Most of his career with the Tigers. And he manages to stay alive on the off speed.
261 career against lefties with 54 home runs and 1,285 plate appearances. 341 on base percentage career against lefties. And that's why he finds himself smack dab in the middle of one of the most potent offenses in all of baseball here tonight. He can hit lefties.
Ryu, career 30-21, 66th start. Rayburn to the left side, robbed by Logan Forsythe. Couple of ground balls, and that was outstanding by the third baseman.
I was instinctively looking for the ball in left field. He hit it so hard. Fast infield here at Dodger Stadium. You're thinking that's through. First knock of the night, but Logan Forsythe with a diving effort to his left. Ryu liking it. I gave that 2 stars. That was a sweet play.
Now lefty with Ryu and Harper.
He got booed.
Evidently, it doesn't help if you punch a giant.
Yeah. They're probably at the beach. They didn't see that one.
So Bryce's return to the lineup yesterday was kind of an unusual day. Couple of strikeouts, but 3 walks, 1 intentional. Swiped a bag on the back end of a double steal with Turner. And Bryce scored 2 runs, second behind Paul Goldschmidt in the league in that category with 46. Shift on. Big looping curveball. Now Seager will retreat out to the edge of the infield on a 2-strike count. Long pause. It's like he was waiting for Harper to call time, or at least ask for it. Okay.
He went through all the pitches twice. He went fastball away, well, he went curveball, fastball away, changeup, fastball in, then he went fastball up because he flipped his thumb. That means fastball up. And Ryu stepped up. Apparently there's a pitch that he's missing, and I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the gyro pitch or something they didn't go over.
Part of the kitchen sink forgotten. That's well outside.
All that for that.
1 ball and 2 strikes.
Place where he got his first big league hit.
Target away. Harper, a late swing, 94 by him. 1, 2, 3 for Ryu. Gio Gonzalez goes to work. Battle of lefties. And the long ball, they're 10th in that department. And Chris Taylor, 400 against left-handers overall in 322 here at home. Taylor at 318 overall. On base percentage is about 100 points higher. He's just out of the top 10 for a lack of at-bats in that batting average department. And Gio Gonzalez takes on the Dodgers for the 6th time in his big league career.
A 12th start of the year for Gio. Opponents hitting .245, 6-3 winner last start on the 30th against the Giants. Just gave up 3 runs in 6 1/3, 8 hits, 6 strikeouts, 3 walks, 108 pitches. So fastball, slider, fastball, curveball change, fastball 90.
Here's Gio to Logan Forsythe. Their leadoff guy batting .215. Forsythe, 30 years of age, Long time in the minor leagues. He's had big league time with San Diego and Tampa Bay. Dodgers got him in a trade for a pitcher, Jose De Leon, last January. And career, he's 4 for 6 against Gio. Dave Roberts. Pretty good debut last year, huh?
I talked to him today. I said, is it harder than you thought it was? Easier than you thought it would be? And he said, FP, it's neither. It's all consuming. I said, I'm at the park. I'm doing things all day. I go home. I have things on my mind. And I said, can you leave it at the park like you could as a player? He said, there's no way to do it as a manager. Because when I go home, I'm thinking about guys on their rehab assignments. Are they better? What my lineup's going to be tomorrow. So he said, as a coach after the game, hey, just go enjoy the family. But as a manager, it's a 24-hour-a-day job, 365.
Big curveball. Forsythe does well to make contact. And of course, for any of you who've ever been here for a game, if you've been here during batting practice, it's a never-ending parade of people through the Dodger dugout, the manager's office. I mean, you name it. If you're the manager of the Dodgers, you are a celebrity in your own right, but you also entertain tons of them. Curveball stays outside.
And he was doing that today. He was shaking everybody's hand, posing for pitchers. That's after going over scouting reports for the Nats, making up his lineup. And then after the game, so you want to be a big league manager, but the way he talked about it, he loves every minute of it.
Gio's gone full on the first batter. And Forsythe pops it up right field. Field completely in the shade here because the grandstand is so high at Dodger Stadium. No worries about a sun field. Forsythe now 0 for his last 15.
You look at the background, that's how high Dodger Stadium is. And when you walk in over the steps, it's always a beautiful sight. You can read the defense, I don't need to say it. But one of the best stadiums that has passed the test of time, I guess is the best way to put it, right?
This place is going on 55 years old. Early 60s. Strike to Corey Seager.
That's where you walk in, right by that Dodgers sign. The media lot's up top, so that's the view right when you walk in. You know where Norberg came down in the wheelchair and fell over? Right there.
Corey Seager will bust up an 0 for 9 with that base hit. First time he's ever faced Gio Gonzalez. 1-on-1 out for the second baseman we talked about a moment ago, the home warrior, if you will, Chris Taylor. This guy is a former Virginia AAA Player of the Year in high school. Played at Cox, Virginia. Then at UVA, one of the nation's top shortstops for a couple of years. This is another trade. It happened last June with Seattle for right-handed pitcher Zach Lee. Taylor's got the old school stirrups going. He's choked up on the bat a bit. He's going to line one to right. Harper on a hop. Play at second. Bang. Throws him out. Bryce Harper charging aggressively and intelligently.
Well, once he decided he couldn't catch in the air, he fields on a hop. And watch Bryce Harper set himself and make a good throw. He could have rushed this, right? But look at him kind of take his time. He knows he has a cannon. He also knows that Corey Seager was stuck in no man's land. But look at how Bryce calmly throws a strike. And a nice frame, too, by Trey Turner to get the call.
9-6 on Bryce Harper's 4th outfield assist of the year. It's Franklin Gutierrez, the left fielder.
Nothing Corey Seager could have done there, by the way.
Right?
He was just stuck. And sometimes you just get stuck.
Tough way to get a fielder's choice if you're Taylor, huh?
Yeah. He's a good player. You're going to like him, or not like him, I should say, by the end of the series.
Franklin Gutierrez, 34 years of age. Dodger free agent signing back in February. Coming off a .246 season in Seattle. 7 years with the Mariners, Cleveland before that. He's seen a lot of Gio over the years, although it's been a while. 2 for 14. Short lead. Curveball. Backs up Rendon to Murphy for the 5-4, inning over. Bryce Harper being aggressive and outstanding in right field after Gio gave a couple of hits up, but one of them turns out not to be. Here's a guy with a whole lot of hits. Zimmerman straight ahead.
Early late. This is the 8th inning. Ryan Zimmerman with a 3-run shot to seemingly put it on ice. It was his 16th of the year. And it was after he pulled one foul and he got one fair. He's just absolutely locked in. So, I mean, I guess looking back, you could say it was a big hit in the game. Go deep inside the numbers. There's your all-star voting, and you're doing it, folks. Look at the first baseman. And that's just as recent today. Ryan Zimmerman takes over the lead at first base. So keep voting for him. You're doing a good job.
Yeah, the Nationals taking care of the right side of the field for the National League right now. So here's Ryan, followed by Murphy and Rendon, top of the second. 73 hits, followed by 70.
You think even Cubs fans are going, man, well, I probably should vote for Ryan. He's doing real good.
Yeah. Cub fans might be back up from treading water. They did sweep their arch rival St. Louis over the weekend and won 3 in a row. Zimmerman takes that off speed in there, 0-2, facing Ryu for the first time. 14 for his last 32, Ryan Zimmerman. Target in. And he slips it under his bat. Second consecutive strikeout. Harper and then Zimmerman. Mercedes on the pitch cast.
Just a real slow delivery, then kind of jumps late. Reminds me of Wayne Chin a little bit with how he tries to pop that 90 in late and speed you up. Might be looking a little faster to the Nats hitters than it's looking on the scoreboard.
Daniel Murphy 3 for 9 against this lefty. One of only 2 Nats in the lineup, along with Wieters, who have faced him previously. Strike one.
That'll dictate a conversation. I knew that was coming after that pitch was called a strike.
Murphy 4th in the league now, coming off a fantastic series.
You know, it's a nice way to say you didn't think it was a strike, Carp. You tell the umpire, is that as far out as we're going today? Do I need to cover that with 2 strikes? They say, yeah, Murph, that's as far out as I'm going to go. And that's your polite way of saying, dude, that's not a strike.
He's got a big hook early in the game. Don't see Murphy wave at something like this too often.
It averages 72 miles an hour. What was this one? 75, so a little more firm than normal. And you see Murph kind of deciding late to swing at that, almost like a 2-strike swing.
See if he thinks left field here, if he gets something else away. Target's out there. And Murphy, thinking exactly that, fouls it to the mezzanine. 359 his last 33 games. Seven homers, driven 26 in. A lot of extra base hits. Super slow one. Murphy's going to run in case it doesn't make a right turn.
Well, after he missed those 3 games, May 26, 27, 28, with the illness, he's been raking. So don't think you have to get sick, kids, to hit well. But it worked for Daniel Murphy.
There they are.
Such a tough out, grinding. We saw somebody miss the catch and didn't like it.
First time the Nets face the 30-year-old lefty. Working at his own pace here with nobody on. Here we go, 1-2.
Well, since we have a lot of time, how'd they get that LA so perfect on the back of the mound? About 30 seconds between pitches right now. I mean, that is dialed, isn't it? Is that spray paint? Or is that colored rocks? And there's the rosin bag, a blue rosin bag down there. Those of you who don't know, keep your hand dry when it sweats. I mean, what else should we talk about?
Nice night here. Swing and a miss on a breaking ball down and away. 3 Ks in a row, and Ryu might have just done something nobody in the National League has done this year. Has anybody struck out Harper, Zimmerman, and Murphy in a row? I doubt it.
If they have, I don't remember it.
See if Rendon can take care of that. 42 strikeouts, 17 walks in 46 innings coming in.
If the Nats score first time around, it's a bonus. I don't even stress when somebody cuts through their lineup. Because number one, they're grinding from a concentration standpoint to get through it. So they're going to get mentally tired, even if they go perfect through the lineup one time. Secondly, these guys talk on the bench. We talk about it all the time, and they formulate game plans for their second time up, and that's when they usually get to somebody. So if they score 3 in the first, it's a bonus. That means you didn't have your stuff, but they usually get you second time around. You see Trey Turner locked in. They're on the top step looking for something. See, I mean, that's what good teams do. Zimmerman's sitting there. They're trying to find something on Ryu right now, a pattern. He's tipping his pitches, something, so you have a better game plan your second time up.
Curveball, fastball to Rendon so far. Now he requests time. And the hook taken. Dodgers statistically the best pitching staff in baseball with an overall ERA at 3.20. Their bullpen 2.70, led by Kenley Jansen, who has not blown a save this year. So it's traditional Dodger pitching that they've got going so far in 2017. Kershaw, amazing numbers. 7-2, 2.28 ERA. Opponent's batting average 210. Strasburg 291. League only hitting 208 on him. Good luck in a day game to the hitters. Rendon after 0-2 now full.
They're supposed to meet last year, right? The last minute scratch was Steven Strasburg. What, feeling good, was it? Can't remember if he was feeling a little tight or he wasn't feeling well. It's the only time I've ever seen Vin Scully upset. Or disappointed, maybe is a better word.
3-2. Rendon to left. If it's fair, the Nats are on top. See you later. From 0-2 to 3-2 to out of the park, Anthony Rendon, 11th of the year.
Catcher number 32, Matt Wieters.
Take it off gently.
Number 87 for the Nats. Dodgers, who've given up the fewest runs in the National League. That's number 200 against their staff.
Well, there goes the no-hitter. There goes the shutout. How many times has that happened this year where it's a double whammy? There goes the no-hitter and the shutout on one swing. And that reminded me of his home run in the playoffs here at Dodger Stadium. Very similar swing. Tighten up the sides on the hair today and hit a homer.
Ninth given up by Ryu in 48 innings. Matt Wieters in there batting right-handed.
We'll show you that playoff home run later, but this is very similar. Although he one-hands this one out here. He was fooled, kept his hands back, and kind of muscled this out to left. And a little see you later for a 1-0 lead.
0-2 to Wieters, who's 8 for 22 this year. Right-handed. Another step off. To the right side. That ball had some spin, came back on Chris Taylor. He throws off the bag, and then Hernandez stretching for it and never got there. Angel Hernandez calls the runner safe. Did you see that little left turn the ball took before it got to Chris Taylor?
Yeah, and I was just talking to Chris Spire about how much better this infield is than it used to be back in the day. Chris Spire was telling me that this was one of the worst infields in the 80s. And it's one of the better fields now. And if you could show that from behind the plate shot one more time, Karp was all over it. That ball took a left turn. It had so much English on it. Watch the ball at the end. It's going toward his left leg. You see it kind of hook back there at the end? And that's where the error happened. Chris Taylor, a guy that plays all over the field, played second tonight with the error. Good hustle by Matt Wieters. Don't forget he got hit by a broken bat in the knee yesterday.
The Dodgers, along with the Atlanta Braves, came into this evening with the most errors in the National League, 41. So that gets it down to Michael A. Taylor. Now he could turn the lineup over if he can find a way to get aboard. They really play him to pull. Chris Taylor shading up the middle. Corey Seager deep short. But the outfield, they're just a bit the other way. Michael has hit safely 10 of his last 21, pardon me, 16 of his last 21 games. 305. He's got to be smart in there tonight. This is a veteran pitcher who can really take advantage of aggressive young hitters. Able to tap it and stay alive.
So many people asking me, well, this is a great test for the Nats, isn't it? You know what my answer was, right?
It's a test for the Dodgers.
Exactly. That just ticks me off when people say that. Oh, this is a big test for the. Well, no, it's a test for the second place Dodgers.
Now they both have 35 wins. Dodgers have 3 more losses than the Nats. Taylor on a big breaking ball manages to knock another one straight down into the dirt.
And if that sounds confident or cocky, you know what? That's the way you have to think as a ball club. That's the way Dusty Baker's team has to think.
Yeah.
How do you measure up to us, not the other way around? And I think, you know, a lot of people have the opposite mindset, but a winning ball club, step up to my plate and see how you measure up to me. That's a winner's mentality.
Michael A takes one down and in.
You're playing me. I'm not playing you. And if you think like that as a young player, you'll go places. Trust me.
Astros have won 10 in a row. They are out of sight. Have a 13.5 game lead over the Angels and the Mariners. Taylor to his left, the third baseman Forsythe got rid of it in a hurry, and the Nats will break on top on a mighty blast by Anthony Rendon. Remember, it was 0-2, then 3-2. He got out there and used those strong hands and wrists. That was a sure thing.
Better numbers with runners on base. With runners in scoring position, he's fared even better, holding hitters to a 111 average. Dusty Baker saying earlier today, Gio's been great at doing the Houdini act at points this season, and he says that's significant because most pitchers out there are not a Clayton Kershaw or a Max Scherzer who are going to keep runners off base consistently. They have to be able to get themselves out of jams to have success. He says Gio has done a great job tightening things up in jams this season when he's gotten himself in some tough situations, and that's been a big reason why he's had the success that he has.
First inning help from his right fielder, and that's Dan with a Coons.com sideline report. When you're talking cars, you're talking Coons. Kike Hernandez hitting .239, first baseman.
Boy, that's a different approach. You see the big leg swing by Hernandez. You don't see that too often. And to add to what Dan said, I think Matt Wieters, and I know I talk about it all the time, he just has a really good idea of what pitch to call when, and I think Gio has so much confidence in the fingers that Matt Wieters puts down in big situations that he doesn't stress as much. And he'll say, you know, publicly after a game, oh, Wilson Ramos called a great game, or Jose Lobaton called a great game. And that might be true, or it might not. But with Matt Wieters and the effect he's had back there defensively in his game calling skills, it calms him down.
1-2 delivery. Changeup, a beauty. Diving away from the right-handed batter. Gio, 61st strikeout this year in just over 69 innings.
That's just a weird looking swing, isn't it? The little leg thing he's got hanging out there. Good pitch by Gio, changeup away. Look at that. Wow. It's just a timing mechanism for those of you that don't know, trying to get his swing going. Just looks weird.
Austin Barnes, the backup catcher, hitting .270. Yasmani Grandal, their main guys, played in 50 ball games so far. Barnes 28. So you might be looking at the lineup wondering, okay, who are some of these guys? Well, Cody Bellinger's on the bench tonight. One of the best rookies in the league. Adrian Gonzalez, Chase Utley, and Grandal. Fastball up.
I love that pitch. Brush him back. The brush back pitch, something you never see anymore.
Austin Barnes, Riverside, California guy, about an hour east of here. He was involved in that multiplayer deal with Miami involving Kike Hernandez, D. Gordon, Dan Herron. Out of Arizona State. Right side's got some pace on it, and Murphy can't get it. Got that one on the sweet spot, and the Dodgers have their second base hit.
The Rangers are coming all the way from Texas to Nats Park to take on the Nats. 3 interleague contests. You see the dates right there? Mark down the times. Saturday, June 10th, 12:05. That's for the Dream Foundation Gala. June 11th, Sunday, it's 4:05. That's because we're going to have a few cocktails at the Dream Foundation Gala. Go to nationals.com/tickets for more details. Rangers coming into town. That'll be a fun series.
Yeah, the second version of the Washington Senators coming back to town. Yasiel Puig, the right fielder. Against Gio, 1 for 11 career. Puig at 241. Yasiel Puig is still only 26 years old. Been around for quite a while. His career seems to be a little quieter, and just all baseball right now for him. Trying to move along in his big league career after breaking in with the Dodgers with a bang back in 13. Went to the All-Star game the following year.
It's kind of a role player, bit part guy now. He doesn't have the pressure of being the 3-hole guy or the cleanup hitter. You know, there's enough guys around him with Adrian Gonzalez and Turner that, you know, he just kind of, he's like a good 5th starter now, so to speak.
3-0 on the edge.
And some guys don't like the spotlight, and they can't handle being the guy. And I don't know if that was the case with Puig, but when you talk to Dodgers people, he's kind of settling into, you know, a nice bottom of the order guy and a pretty good right fielder for Dave Roberts.
3-1. Fastball. Maybe took a little bit off at 89. Mercedes-Benz will check out the location.
That's a ball. Quadzillas, check that out. Have you been down there and stood next to him?
Big man.
He's huge. Yeah. TV doesn't do him justice how big he is.
Payoff pitch with 1 out. Short lead by Barnes. And Gio misses. First walk, 2 on 1 out. Down to the number 8 hitter, Brett Eibner, the center fielder. '28-year-old San Diego native. Drafted by the Royals originally out of the Woodlands High School, north of Houston.
Any relation to Brad Ausmus? My goodness, looks just like him.
Everybody's got a doppelganger, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's scary. It's like the Tigers manager.
6 for 30 in 16 ball games. Part-time big league action with the Royals and the A's last year. For the Dodgers, got him in a trade end of January. Two on, 1 out. Pitcher next. Under his hands on the inside edge.
So the reason he has the low average as far as his scoring position, look at where the first pitch is and look at where this one is. He pitches down in the zone. This one a little more up, but he got it in off the plate. I think Gio, as well as anybody in baseball, keeps the ball down for that double play ball when he's in trouble. Setting up the changeup right here. He's going to try to get a ground ball on this pitch. This didn't miss by much, by the way, if at all.
One and two. Busting him in again, and the count's even. Dodgers, rough weekend in Milwaukee. Hard time getting guys in. 2-2 pitch. There's the changeup. First day of a series. Mike and some of the other coaches, staff guys leaving the hotel around 10 o'clock this morning to get to the ballpark to get their work done. 2-2 pitch. Now you don't want to walk him even though the pitcher's on deck. We'll see how much of a challenge mode Gio is in here.
Kind of wish that changeup in there. It didn't have full conviction behind it. Got to throw that pitch. Throw it hard with the loose grip and let the arm speed fool him. Let's see if Dave Roberts starts the runners. I don't think he will with the pitcher on deck. Got good speed out there, though.
Yeah, big lead. And this one out of play.
Little subtle trip. Make sure you're on the right page and you're digging what fingers I'm putting down.
Tapper. Murphy can't get a tag, but now they got the runner hung up. Zimmerman's going to hold the ball as Austin Barnes was not that far off the bag at third. So it'll be 4 unassisted on a play that was starting to shape up like a double play.
Well, Daniel Murphy did the right thing. If you can't tag Puig, run it back, then throw it. And why didn't Ryan Zimmerman throw it? I don't know if he has confidence to throw it, and that's okay because you got the pitcher coming up. So instead of taking a chance on throwing this one away, if you can't run him down, the guy at third's not going. It's okay. Pitcher's coming up. It's a smart play, especially if you don't have confidence in your accuracy right there and you're Ryan Zimmerman. I like to play. Get the pitcher out. Even if he gets a hit, I like to play. I don't care.
So 4-3 on the Murphy play to Ryan.
I don't know why they're going curveball here.
Yeah.
He can hit 250, but
yeah, 186 career, 7 RBIs, 3 for 12 this season. Popped up right side. Ryan Zimmerman throws his arms out. Says I have it, and that's it for the Dodgers in the bottom of the second. They've stranded 3 already. Gio will lead off with a 1-0 lead. So he's seen what our guy could do. VW moments as we flash back. Dodger, sidearm. That ball's out. Looks like a home run in Atlanta, the old ballpark there. Dodger Stadium to the bleachers. Dusty hit. 242 homers, drove in 1,013 runs. He stole 137 bases. A lot of years with Atlanta, debuted at the age of 19. Dodgers, Giants, A's, a couple of all-star games. And one more note on Dusty Baker. In 1967, he was a 26th round draft pick. You never know what kind of gems are that far down in the draft, and then he becomes a great player and a potential Hall of Fame manager.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, he played the game hard. That's how he expects his players to play it. Learned that from Tommy Lasorda. And how good is it to see Tommy at the game? About a week out of the hospital. Had another pacemaker put in. He's got his strength back, and it's good to see him at the ballpark. I know there's no place that Tommy rather be than watching the Dodgers play.
Yeah, get your strength back, Tommy. Gio with the bat this year, 4 for 21, 4 RBIs, 4 sacrifices. Got his batting average back up over 100 career. He's at 104. You see that pitch coming down and in. 2 balls, 1 strike. It. Gio's taking some hard swings lately. You've seen him react kind of funny after a few of them. 2-2. In the air to right. Puig drifting toward the line. First time through the order. The Nats go 1 for 9 with the Rendon home run. Jeep takes us inside some numbers. So some young guns. Corey Seager, Trey Turner, first 145 career games. Seager beyond that, but that's what he did in his first 145. Favorable comparisons.
It's a 1 and 2 in Rookie of the Year last year.
Trey has a birthday in just under 3 weeks. Be 25 in Corey Seager, 23.
I think Corey Seager grows out of shortstop eventually, maybe like Cal Ripken did.
Pardon me, he's 23. Trey is 24 in a couple weeks.
You know, he's a bigger shortstop, more known for his power, his gap power. Trey Turner is a speed guy with a lot of range. I don't think Trey will ever grow out of shortstop.
Sounds like a second busted bat, and it is, as Ryu has taken 2 out of Trey's collection here. 2 outs, 3rd inning. And with more on Ryan Rayburn, who hit the ball well his first time up, here's Dan.
Bob, interesting last 24 hours for Ryan Rayburn. 5-hour drive to Pawtucket when he was with Syracuse. Then a 2-hour cab ride to Boston after he learns he'd be coming up to join the Nats. Then a 6-hour flight out here to L.A. So he, you know, maybe a little weary, but says he's thrilled to be with this ball club, be back in the major leagues. An interesting fact about him, he's actually played 8 of the 9 positions on the diamond. More of a corner outfielder, first baseman now, but very versatile.
Well, that's a man after my own heart. I like that. So you get back to the big leagues and you sign with the ball club your first game. It don't matter if you have 10 minutes of sleep. You're wired. You're ready.
Hits one to a similar spot. Robbed by the third baseman earlier and robbed by the shortstop here. Corey Seager, serious range. And the arm to finish that play off.
Good scouting by the Dodgers, too. I mean, Corey Seager was playing him the pull, so he was already over there. Ryan Rayburn could be 2 for 2, but look at Seager. He was standing in the hole. Long throw, good pick, and Rayburn robbed again. Robbing Chris Taylor of a base hit, turned it into a fielder's choice. How about some StatCastification on this one, brought to you by Amazon Web Services. How fast did Bryce Harper throw it? 94.3 miles an hour. And Bryce was a pitcher growing up, and I guarantee you if he towed the slab right now, he could throw in the upper 90s.
Well, it was interesting, his approach to that throw. He kind of took an extra step. He knew he had the runner. He wanted to make sure he was accurate with the throw and right on target.
The strike.
4th outfield assist of the year. Top of the order, bottom of the 3rd. Logan Forsythe. Fly ball to Harper, first time up. So Bryce picked up the first 3 balls hit today, because Seager's base hit went to him, and then that drive we just showed by Chris Taylor. Turner's going to plant after going backhand. Look at that strong throw and a great pick. Ryan Zimmerman. Shortstops, 23 years of age, putting on a show.
Well, we kind of previewed this, right? The story within the story, the game within the game. 2 young shortstops going toe-to-toe. Corey Seager robbing Ryan Rayburn, and now Trey Turner with some robbery of his own. What a play going in the hole. Slide, get up, make a good throw. Ryan with the backhand pick. That's 2 stars, right?
Yeah, both pitchers doing some pointing at their shortstops in gratitude. Play like that will untie your shoe. Corey Seager, base hit right field first time. Murphy about 15 feet out onto the turf. Gio gets the outer edge at the knees. 1-1.
Gio doesn't look very happy with that last pitch.
Way in on his hands. No way to hit that fair.
Look out. Oh my God, he just said.
Well, he can say something a lot more pleasant for that one. Ryan Zimmerman unassisted. 2 outs. 3rd inning, and Chris Taylor is next.
I think he just said, yay! Calling all Cavaliers. Join the Nats on Saturday, June 24th as we celebrate the first of 7 college days at the ballpark. With a special ticket, University of Virginia students, alumni, and fans will enjoy an outfield reserve ticket and a UVA Nationals co-branded New Era hat. Visit nationals.com/special ticket. One of those college days, they got to give away a beer bong, don't they? Something. I mean, it's college. Beer pong, something.
Curiously timed promo after Zimmerman makes a play and another Cavalier, Chris Taylor, steps in. I don't know if the truck knew they did that, but
yeah,
even if they didn't know it, they're brilliant.
They totally got that one on accident. Trust me.
Wahoo wah twice.
They're everywhere.
Taylor,
go ahead.
originally drafted by Seattle. A little younger than Ryan by a couple of years. 0-2.
He drove in the winning runs to lift Virginia to the College World Series championship in 2011.
A nice job for them at second base. Chase Utley, of course, will probably be back in against Scherzer and Strasburg next 2 days. This one in the air. Twilight time approaching here, but everybody sees it. Because the grandstand is so high here, the lights are higher too. So does that help you in the twilight? Ball doesn't get out of the arc of the lights as easily?
Yeah, it helps you for a second, Carp, but when it finally gets up and out of here, this is the only place I ever lost one, and it was embarrassing. And I think this is the time, but this is just a no man's land. Lights in effect or not, this is a tough one to get to. Good hustle by Ryan and Bryce. So, getting back to Chris Taylor, he totally changed his swing. This is a guy that only had 1 home run in 318 appearances before this season. He went to the leg kick, and he adjusted his hands a little bit, and all of a sudden, he's got 7 home runs, and he's hitting 318.
Yeah. 1 career homer, that was last year with the Dodgers when he played 34 games here after that mid-June trade we talked about.
Had the game-winning grand slam the other day in Milwaukee for a Dodger comeback late. Yeah, he plays the game the right way too. I'm a big fan.
2-2 with 2 outs.
Had a great spring and was sent to AAA, kept grinding, got called up, and he's hoping the rest is history.
Gio throws him a strike. He took it. Doesn't like it. And Gonzalez, second K of the night. So Gio, 2 hits, 1 walk so far, and 3 zeros on the board at Dodger Stadium. here tonight. Hall of Fame 1982 with Hank Aaron. They're honoring Tommy Lasorda on the video board here. They just showed a career highlight package of him and welcoming him back to Dodger Stadium. And hopefully Tommy, just now that he's out of the hospital, as you mentioned, gets stronger and stronger every day.
Standing ovation, goosebump moment. Frank Robinson appreciates it. They just showed all the highlights on the scoreboard. Very cool, man. Baseball royalty, folks.
So, how about a young Prince leading off with a Mazda 2 up here. Top of the fourth, it's Harper, then Zimmerman, then Murphy. Just look at all the numbers these guys are putting up. It's so impressive. Bryce has had a strange return to the lineup. No contact yet. 3 strikeouts, 3 walks since being back in there yesterday up in Oakland.
Well, it's hard to break him down right now and analyze his swing because he missed some games, but if I had to, he's drifting again a little bit. So hopefully he stays on that backside. You remember early in spring training in April, his head was perfectly still. Well, it's kind of going toward the pitcher just a hair.
Harper, this one to center, but Brett Eibner is under it. About 370 for the first out, 4th inning.
How about this inning? Is this a pitcher's nightmare right here? Harper, Zimmerman, and Murphy. You know, Ryu is sitting over there on the bench going, oh my goodness, my 4th inning, I'm going to have to really, really bear down. Just cuts across this one and misses a homer.
Well, he's not going to strike all 3 of them out this time. Ryan Zimmerman now getting his second look at the lefty. Big hook. I mean, that thing, top of the zone to the bottom, one side of the plate to the other, on its way. A guy named Koufax used to throw in here like that. Right side. Thank you, shift. Ryan Zimmerman, base hit. His 74th of the year. They had him played up the middle. No way for Taylor to get to it.
Number 20, Daniel Murphy.
When you're having a triple crown first half and you're having one of those years, you hit a 14 hopper to second and there's no second baseman there. He decided to go get a cup of coffee. I mean, that's how it goes when you're locked in, and he's thinking the same thing. Like, this is my year, baby.
He's got that sort of impish look on his face. Ryan looks like he just got away with something.
He did.
Here's Murphy. We could do a half-hour special on Ryan Zimmerman's facial expressions over the years.
And we've been around them every day for so long. We almost know exactly what they all mean.
Remember the time Harper hit the home run and Zimmerman was waiting for him on deck, just kind of threw his arms out and looked up at the sky?
Yeah.
Bryce had done something ridiculous, like probably picked a ball off the ground and hit it in the upper deck, and Ryan's expression as Harper went by was priceless.
Yeah, for like the 3rd day in a row.
Murphy swinging strikeout first time. Up the middle, and because of the shift, they almost turned the double play. That would have been a 4-6-3 in unconventional fashion. I'll get the force play, and that'll keep the inning alive for the home run hitter Rendon.
Well, the Dodgers were going to check it at first, but Dave Roberts just gave the play on sign. And that hop kept Chris Taylor back. He didn't have momentum into the feed. If he would have got a better hop, he would have gave a better feed, and it would have been a little bit quicker. And then down to Murphy hustling all the way. Got a lot of lower half injuries going on with the Nats. Don't forget Bryce getting hit in the hip. Murph got hit in the knee. A lot of guys dinged up on this West Coast trip. Wieters on deck got hit by a broken bat yesterday in the knee.
And pardon my hesitation on the call of that fielder's choice, but Logan Forsythe, the 3rd baseman, was actually playing more of a second base position. There were Dodger infielders all over the place on that 4-6. Rendon to right center. touches one off, heading for the gap, and that ball is going to unfortunately hop into the seats. If that hits the wall, Daniel Murphy scores easily. Ground rule double, leaving runners at second and third.
Bad break for the Nats. So you go pull side home run, you figure, well, we get something away, let's go that way. Look at the balance in Anthony Rendon's swing. He backed that ball up, let it travel toward the catcher just enough. And it looked like they made the warning track out of that tire sign you just saw there. That was a Super Bowl bounce for a ground rule double. 13th of the year for Tony Two Bags.
Extra base hits piling up for Rendon. He's now hitting around 380 his last 12 games. Wieters goes up, and first pitch foul.
You know, the Nats at Nats Park have intentionally, John Turnauer and the grounds crew, made the warning track soft enough where the ball doesn't bounce out and stays in play. That's by design. Whatever the crushed ash brick or whatever they use on the warning track in DC is soft, and you see a lot of balls stay in play at Nats Park. Here, I saw that one. It couldn't get out of here fast enough. Like it bounced off a Dodger dog or something.
Oh, don't start me thinking about those. It's only the fourth inning. Come on.
Well, that's about what a ball would do if it bounced off a Dodger dog.
0-1 to Wieters. He takes it upstairs. Counts even. So the Nats, 2 of their 3 hits right here in the fourth. Matt Wieters, best in the league with that 438. And this is interesting because Murphy's now at 380 and Anthony Rendon's at 360. So with men on base in scoring position, the Nats have 3 of the top 10.
Tell you what, if Michael A. Taylor wasn't swinging it so well, they might think about pitching around Wieters here with first base open and 2 outs, because Michael A's been raking. Matt Wieters has protection, and they're pitching to him. Well, we said it yesterday. He was 1 for 2, I believe, with a walk. And he had one in the bag already. So what do? You think about hitting a home run when you come up. It's like playing with house money, and every swing in that at-bat from Matt Wieters was telling us that he was trying to do what he did.
That was the first 2 runs of that 5-run ninth. Taylor homered right after that. Little did we know the Nats would need every one of those tallies. 1-2 to Wieters, out of play again.
Yeah, it's just tough for a young closer to sit around for almost 30 minutes and go back out there like Coda Glover did yesterday. You lose your adrenaline, you lose your focus. You're used to pitching with the game on the line, and instead of throwing quality strikes for a save, you just throw strikes, and he got dinged up a little bit. Just hope that didn't set his confidence back at all, because he's been doing really, really well.
Odd stats of the day: he got a hold, and Sean Kelly gives up a grand slam and gets a save. Wieters up the middle with a clutch 2-out hit. Murphy scores. Rendon behind him. Matt Wieters continues to be awesome for the Nats with runners in scoring position. It's 3-0.
But I'm telling you, that at-bat doesn't happen if Michael Taylor's not swinging it. Why would you take a chance with a guy with runners in scoring position batting average so high at all if you're Dave Roberts, unless the guy on deck is doing damage himself? So Matt Wieters sees something to hit. 2 strikes, goes back up the middle, and just like that, it's 3-0. Great at bat.
Taylor up there hacking early in the count. Matt Wieters' RBI's number 21 and 22.
Most 8-hole hitters, Carp, if the 7 guy can hit, you walk him to get to 8 because he's usually an out. But the Dodgers couldn't.
Three hits in the inning. Now Taylor's 0-2 battle begins.
You got 276 home runs on deck. I mean, that's a deep lineup. That's the definition. What you just saw at home, that's the definition of a deep lineup, and that's why it's hard to manage against the Nats.
Did he go? Angel Hernandez says no.
Kike Hernandez said yes. He was running off the field. Did you see Kike?
That bat went a ways.
Kike's arguing with Angel too. The Hernandezes are fighting.
Michael really waited for that curveball. Well, hit it hard. Seager to Taylor. Big inning for the Nats. Hits by Zimmerman, Rendon, and 2 driven in by Wieters. RAV4 Toyota. Whether you're in LA or not, what drives you? Visit buyatoyota.com for great deals.
They had to film this at 3 in the morning because usually right there it's just a parking lot.
Crew out last night working hard, bringing us great shots from LA.
That's why I said 3 in the morning.
Matt Wieters delivers again. His batting average now approaching .450 with runners in scoring position. And here at beautiful Dodger Stadium, Gio Gonzalez looking for a shutdown inning. Bottom of the 4th. PNC's got some inside the numbers for us. 5 out of 6 on the road trip. The team great with runners in scoring position. Averaging 2 home runs a game, almost 7 runs per game, and the starters have been very good. Franklin Gutierrez, the cleanup man. Bouncing ball first time to Rendon, this time to Turner. Gio's starting to get some ground ball outs now. That's 4 of the last 6 hitters. Next up, Kike Hernandez. Gio's got the ball. He's waiting.
You could say here's the windup and the swing with Kike Hernandez. The pitcher winding up and the hitter winding up.
Yeah. Kind of a stiff raise of the leg, and then he took it right in there.
See that a lot in the Japanese league. Hitters using that front leg for the timing. Ichiro used to do it a little bit, maybe not this drastic.
Sadaharu Oh, the great home run hitter, left-handed batter, he was very active with his front foot and his front leg. Gio pulls the string on him.
Just shocked they haven't retired this number yet here. Hit a hard 196 for the Dodgers. And I'm shocked that the number is still even being used.
My mind was like a Rolodex going through play. Oh yeah, Santangelo.
197. Sorry, cheated myself a
Yeah,
point.
Davey Johnson didn't play you much, did he?
No, yeah, that's why.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Wow, look at that. Changeup diving away from the right-handed batter. Now Gio striking out 3, 2 of the last 3, and Austin Barnes is next.
Hey, look at Flag Day Patriotic Tank Top. That's presented by Budweiser. First 15,000 fans ages 21 and up on June 14th. 4:05 start against the Braves. Get a tank top. Go to nationals.com/tickets. You got to be 21 and up. First 15,000 fans. You guys can get a tank top.
Austin Barnes. Right-handed base hit. The other way first time. He hit a ball not that far from Daniel Murphy, but he got the good part of the bat on it. Got through in a hurry. Dodgers so far 2 harmless singles. 2-1. Right now, as he goes for a short stroll, loving the work rate and the efficiency of Gio Gonzalez. First 3 innings, 55 pitches. Had a long second inning when he threw 28 with a base hit and a walk, but he's really gathered himself, retiring 7 straight. He's got some kind of change-up going. Austin Barnes, I think his swing was complete when the ball got there. Check it out, Mercedes-Benz.
Watch the arm speed. Just like the fastball. About 6-7 miles an hour slower.
3-2. This one to center, hit well, but Taylor is there. Ball took off on Michaele a bit, but that is 8 in a row for Gio Gonzalez. Into the 5th, he'll lead off.
Matt Wieters, everybody getting it done. Gio looks real relaxed here tonight, by the way. From the first pitch on, he has had it going on. But you look at your 4th inning, if you're Rio, you say, oh no, Harper, Zimmerman, Murphy, what do I do? Well, you got through Harper. Zimmerman hit a roller to second, so no big deal. You retired Daniel Murphy on a fielder's choice. Well, maybe I'm out of the woods, right? Well, no, Anthony Rendon a double in the gap. Matt Wieters with a clutch 2-strike, 2-out single up the middle. So maybe you took a deep breath, thought you were done. Next thing you know, it's 3-0. 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com to see how much you could save.
67 pitches, 51 strikes. So it's Hyun Jin Ryu to Gio Gonzalez, who hit a fly ball to right field first time up. Good take, 2-0. And this one high in the air out to right. Puig. That's how the top of the 5th gets underway.
So the battle of shortstops tonight. Some good leather being thrown by both guys. Look where Corey Seager's starting. That's just darn good scouting report. I mean, it's Ryan Rayburn's first game as a Nat, so one of those computer dudes down there knew exactly where to put Corey Seager. And then maybe one of the Nats computer dudes knew exactly where to put Trey Turner. He was in a good spot. His play a little more difficult in my mind. He went into a slide, had to pop up, and threw a short hop to Ryan Zimmerman. That's why those guys make the big bucks. They go to Harvard, they sit in the clubhouse, and they position you.
It's like a real-life game of chess.
It is. You put that hat on with the propeller on top, and you position guys on defense.
Some guys with that propeller have their own jets.
Yeah.
1-1. Big off-speed pitch rolling in there, and Turner well out ahead. Trey tried to stay back.
I just think he changed the whole dynamic of yesterday's game. One of the most interesting things to break down we've had all season when he got on, I think in the 6th inning. Remember, it was a 1-0 game. The A's were ahead. He leads off, or he gets on in the 6th. Or maybe he led off the 8th. That was the big one, yeah.
Yeah, 6 was his big triple.
6 was the triple, 8th was the single, and then the whole cat and mouse game between Madsen and he on the bases was fascinating. He changed the game by himself yesterday simply by getting on.
1-2, Tapper third base line. Looks like a hit. It's going to hit the bag. He's going to round first, and got to be careful if you're a third baseman. Don't run past that ball too much. It'll turn it into a double. So Trey Turner gets an infield hit. Forsythe had no chance to throw him out.
If Trey Turner picks this up earlier, it's a double, folks. It would have been an infield double. Forsythe lets it go. It hits the bag, and Trey didn't see it rolling right here because he was thinking, I got to beat it out. Watch this. I got to beat it out. I got to beat it out. And then if he just turns left right here and goes, he has it. Just picked it up a tad late. So let the games begin. Here we go. Trey Turner on with 1 out.
16 steals in 19 attempts. He's only 2 behind D. Gordon now. 3rd in the league. Billy Hamilton of the Reds, 28.
I think if you're Ryan Rayburn, you're well aware of Trey Turner's speed. Maybe take a strike for him, and that's it. Game on now. And Kike Hernandez is playing his very first game at first base tonight. He's played everywhere else but catcher. So even if you go first move, does Hernandez know what he's doing over there? Good athlete.
Ryan Rayburn, ton of hitting room in the right side. He's pulled it hard twice. Couldn't bend the knees enough to get to that one. 0-2 now. Hit 301 as recently as 15 with the Indians. 220 for Colorado last year, 9 homers, 30 RBIs.
Asking for time. Did you see that?
He got it.
That's how you ask for time for younger players that are still up. First of all, you should be in bed. Second of all, if you're watching it, watch him say time. Watch Ryan Rayburn's lips. He didn't take his hand off the bat. So many times you see a player take their hand off, and then the pitch comes and you're not ready to hit. Keep both hands on the bat. Scream timeout as long as you can until you get timeout. But don't ever take your hand off the bat. That was perfect. I know it's something little, but it's something big when strike 3's thrown right past you because you don't have 2 hands on the bat. Umpire doesn't have to grant you time. It's a privilege.
Turner inching out. 1-2 count with 1 down. He's holding. Rayburn takes it, and the ball gets away, and Austin Barnes does the right thing by not throwing. Doesn't go down as a steal, but it's the same pressure you put the defense under.
Yeah, curveball in the dirt. Good read by Trey Turner. Even if Austin Barnes keeps this close, Turner took off immediately. Watch Trey at the top of your screen. Yeah, put it in your pocket.
Okay, here come the Nats. So well with runners in scoring position. Rayburn not a part of it yet, but he could be right here.
It's a good trip by Chris Taylor telling his pitcher, hey, I'm keeping Turner close. He's hit 2 in the hole. I'll be taking care of the base runner. You concentrate on the hitter.
It was 0-2, now 2-2. Rayburn a high chopper. He's running hard. Seager the exchange. Stretched by Hernandez for the second out. Turner to third.
Pretty good play by Corey Seager. Backhand going toward his dugout, threw across his body.
Right fielder, Bryce Harper.
And once again, Ryan Rayburn an eyelash away from being 3 for 3, and he's 0 for 3. Pretty good stretch by Kike Hernandez too. Never played first before.
Somebody told him how to stretch, or he must have been watching somebody.
Yeah, he must do yoga because that looked painful.
Yoga on the infield.
I thought we were done with that.
Fastball outside to Bryce Harper. Bryce has struck out and hit a fly ball to center. Three nothing Nats, top of the 5th. Harper, RBI base hit going the other way. First base hit in 2 games since returning. And for Bryce, RBI number 44. 4-run lead.
Kind of going the other way, but he stayed on it just enough to drill it through the hole. Clutch knock for Bryce Harper. And this lineup just puts so much pressure on you, doesn't it? I mean, Turner gets on, all heck breaks loose, ball in the dirt, gets to third on a slow roller. Bryce Harper picks you up. Now here comes the best hitter in the National League and a guy that finished second in the MVP. I mean, goodness.
The opportunistic Nationals tonight. Yeah, Rendon blasted one out of here for the first run, but since then, the Nats have made good use of their hits. That's about 3 or 4 broken bats from Ryu tonight, but all that matters is the 4 runs.
That we've seen a lot of Trey Turner throwing to first on the fly, kind of jumps, gets off the air with his left foot and makes some jumping throws when other shortstops might set themselves or throw on the run. And I talked to Trey about that earlier today, asked him why he jumps so much. First of all, he says he just jumps higher than other infielders, so it kind of might bring more attention to it than some of the other guys, but he has two reasons why he really does it. He wants to square himself up to the first base bag. He also wants to allow himself to get under control and have a good arm angle. He feels that because he charges balls so quickly, it's hard for him to get under control after fielding the ball, that he might take an extra step before he's able to throw and kind of end up throwing off the wrong foot or at a bad arm angle. So he says if he's not moving right towards the first base bag, sometimes he'll do that jump. That'll allow him to set himself and be consistent with the throwing motion to get that ball right where he wants it.
All right, thank you, Dan, with our Coons.com sideline report. When you're talking cars, you're talking Coons. Yasiel Puig leagues off, bottom of the fifth.
That's good stuff, Dan. Way to go. I was wondering about all that. We talked to him in his locker today about it, and he just feels comfy doing it. I like it. But I told Trey, I said, every time you do it, I go, for a second. I don't know where the ball's going, and every time you've done it, it's been right on the money. It's not something you teach a 16-year-old shortstop to do. It's just natural. It's how he does it, and it works.
Nothing wrong with being a little original in this game and not doing things like everybody else does.
Hey,
that's a near miss, 3-1.
If you could stand on your head and hit, stand on your head and hit. If you jump on routine ground balls and throw right on the money, who cares?
Tapper, that'll fill the count, 3-2.
Puig looked disgusted that he swung at it.
Yeah, I think he went after ball 4 last time to get the count to 3-2 before Gio walked him. He's the most recent Dodger base runner. 3-2 here. Gio throws a strike, jams him, and it's popped up for Zimmerman. Pretty good comeback by Gio Gonzalez. Ryan catches the fair ball, and that's 9 Dodgers in a row set down.
Number 50, Brett Eisner.
Telling you, from the first pitch tonight, he looked relaxed. I think the first pitch of the game was 86 miles an hour, and I kind of looked at you and said, okay. But he's been very smooth, calm, under control. You know, we've seen him in the first inning be fidgety at times and nervous, but like most guys are.
First pitch curveball, a beauty to Eibner, who had a ground ball to Murphy first time up. Doubles up on the hook.
Yeah, we said he likes pitching against the Dodgers yesterday. He likes pitching against them today. So far,
he's won 3 starts in a row. Gio came in, by the way, with the 8th best overall ERA in the National League at 3.03, so that baby's under 2 by now.
Watch the arm speed on the change. Looks just like the fastball, and it's 83. Means he's got a loose grip. He's holding it on his fingertips, and he threw that one.
Tries to paint inside, just misses. With his first out here in the 5th inning, Gio Gonzalez ERA is down to 2.85. It's a great 2-strike pitch. Off speed, strikes him out. At least it kind of looked like change-up movement, but the gun says 91. Strikeout number 4. So he's got some stuff going, moving around.
Total command of this game right now. He's done a nice job with the shutdown inning after the Nats scored in the 4th. He's doing a nice job right now at the shutdown inning after they scored in the 5th. A pop-up, a strikeout, and now the pitcher hits.
Goes up hacking. Ryu first time up. Gio almost walked him, went to 3-1. Got him on a pop-up to Ryan Zimmerman. Curveball in there. It's 0-2 in a hurry. Another hook. Inning over. Wieters will just stroll over and tag him. Gio strikes out 2 in the inning, 5 in the game. He's in total command here in LA.
Well, so far through this one, the Nats played maybe their cleanest game of the year to date. Going against the Dodgers up 4-0 as we go to the top of the 6th. MLB.com app ad is your #1 mobile app for live Nationals baseball. Stay connected with a fully customizable experience. Get Nationals home screen icons, app features, as well as game day, live game video highlights, radio broadcast, StatCast, and news. Go to MLB.com at bat today. That was hard reading through that loud music. Whew.
What?
Screaming that promo.
Murphy, Rendon, and Wieters, top of the 6th. Everything looking good. Live or on the phone here at Dodger Stadium. Murphy 0 for 2, ground ball fielder's choice in the 4th after he struck out in the 2nd. That was in between, though, the Zimmerman and Rendon base hits before Matt Wieters delivered that huge pair of 2-out RBIs. Against the shift, Murphy hits it hard to right, and Yasiel Puig comes to get it. Right from his first moment in the big leagues, a very exciting, good, and hard-throwing right fielder.
Well, watch the jump that Puig gets. I mean, this is a sinking line drive off the bat of Daniel Murphy, and that's just being ready for the baseball. If you're standing out there in right field thinking about your last at-bat, you don't make that play. So Puig anticipating the ball, nice play into a barrel roll. He's exciting to watch, man. What did Vin call him? The wild horse?
Anthony Rendon, 6 total bases tonight. Solo homer in the 2nd. Key RBI, or rather key double, before the Wieters RBIs in the middle of that 2-run 4th inning. Batting average up to .295.
Ever since he's been really hitting, it looks like to me he's on his legs more. He's more in a squat at the plate. You remember early in the year, his knees were kind of not as bent, I guess. You see the stance now? He's kind of sitting down like Daniel Murphy and using his lower half more, even though we always talk about the strong wrists as you see him check swing.
Yeah, even Angel Hernandez couldn't ring him up.
I mean, he never goes. Look at that. I mean,
it's amazing.
Steel forearms. I don't know how he does it. It's incredible. There you go. He's on his legs.
2-1 up the middle. Cut off by Seager. Plenty of time. 2 down. Matt Wieters up to his old tricks, Dan.
He is, Bob, and we're happy to see him in the lineup today after that scary incident yesterday when he got drilled by that broken bat while in the on-deck circle. He bent over right after it happened, and he told me today in the clubhouse that as he was bending over, he looked down at his leg and is thinking to himself, please don't be gushing blood. He was worried that the kind of shard drilled him and that he'd be cut open. He wasn't. He said he was in a ton of pain as the game went on. He felt like he tore his quad, but played through it. Obviously just a bruise and back in there again today.
Gamer. Absolute gamer. And he got a base hit after that.
Yeah.
Catchers are used to getting hit by stuff. Maybe not just a spear of a broken bat.
And Wieters will pop this one up to the right side. Kike Hernandez in foul ground, and for the first time since the third inning, this time on 8 pitches, the Nats go 1, 2, 3. Gio back to work, leading by 4.
Bard talked about how he's relaxed. And it just started real early. The changeup's been coming out of his hands like the fastball. That wasn't a strike to Chris Taylor. He had to wear that one. But other than that, Gio's been dialed. 82 pitches to this point, 48 for strikes. So the fastball, changeup, curveball combination going on for Gio Gonzalez. Washington area Toyota dealers help children and their families by making a $37 donation to the Children's Inn at NIH for every strikeout by a Nats pitcher this season.
Bottom of the 6th inning, Forsythe, Seager, Taylor, top of the order for the Dodgers. Curveball stays outside. It's a Logan Forsythe who has hit a fly ball to right and then been robbed of a hit by Trey Turner. Big rip.
And I think because of that changeup we just talked about, his fastball, the way the Dodgers are swinging at it tonight, looks like it's 100. He's thrown 89 in there to righties, and they're late. Another tardy swing. Big inning for Gio, third time through the Dodgers order.
255th career start tonight. 1-2 the count. Missing inside.
Just feels different without Justin Turner in there. Adrian Gonzalez not in there.
Yeah, Turner on the DL. Dodgers are 11-5 since they lost him. The big left-handed guns, Bellinger, Gonzalez, and Utley, probably all back in there for Dave Roberts tomorrow and Wednesday. And that's close. Count goes full, 3-2.
Big pitch coming.
Just missed. First base runner since Yasiel Puig walked in the second inning.
Pretty close. Could have given it to him. Maybe that makes up for the strike 3 to Chris Taylor.
So Gio off the stretch for the first time in 3 full innings. Seager base hit to right and a ground ball to Ryan Zimmerman. Murphy in a rank pull position. Zimmerman can't get it. It's through both of them, and there wasn't much of an alley there. Harper to third, and it's first and third, nobody out, and Corey Seager is the man for the Dodgers so far tonight, trying to set up a rally here. I mean, there couldn't have been more than 8 feet or so between Zimmerman and Murphy here, if that.
Yeah, Ryan didn't really come off the bag very hard right there, and the ball gets through. Maybe Gardner gets a double, I don't know. Good trip by Matt Wieters to calm down Gio Gonzalez, because this is about damage control. You get a ground ball right here, you give up a run. Kind of woke up the crowd, didn't it?
Welcome back to Whiskey A Go Go. Chris Taylor, the hitter. Wow. We'll get our brains back in order here for the number 3 hitter in the 6th. Right now, the runner at third, a little concerned at Gio. He's up by 4. They're going up hacking a little earlier in the count than they were before.
Use that to your advantage if you're Gio. Don't have to throw strikes. Pitches that look like strikes.
Chris Taylor in attack mode. 0 for 2 tonight and 0 and 2 here. Fidgety, but he's been relaxed all night. Probably not as close as the fans here thought.
No,
He's
Chris,
diving out there.
Yeah, he was. He's diving to the outer half and came up and in. Change up for a ground ball might be the pitch here after the fastball up and in. See if he goes to it.
That ball is well hit. Dodgers on the board. It'll stay in the yard over there. They'll hold the runner at third. And the Dodgers, because of that leadoff walk and a couple of hits, are trying to build a big inning here. They're back to within 3, and here comes Mike Maddox.
He tried to go the fastball in one more time and left it out over. So he had success with pitches 1 and 2 fastballs on the inner half, and I thought because he'd thrown 3 fastballs in a row that they might decide on something soft like a changeup on the other side. Maybe went to the well one too many times against a good hitter, and Chris Taylor made him pay. So second, third, nobody out. Dodgers in business here in the 6th.
Nets haven't won a ball game here since the 2015 season. Late innings have always been a struggle here. Still a 3-run lead.
They won game 3 here of the NLDS.
Yeah. I was talking regular season, but you're right.
I know, just trying to.
Nats got swept here during the regular season, did better in the playoffs.
They almost won game 4.
Franklin Gutierrez, couple of ground balls, 0 for 2. Anything but at Gio or Rendon on a one-hopper brings in another run here as far as on the ground. Happy Tuesday morning to you back home. Things were cruising along until about 8 minutes ago. And the Dodgers, 3 base runners in a row here, bottom of the 6th, to make it a 4-1 game, and obviously looking for more. Nobody out. Curveball, no. 2-0.
Nothing stirring in the Nats pen.
Gio had retired 11 in a row until he walked Logan Forsythe, who was 0 for his last 16.
Oh, and as I say that, the chairs are moving and somebody's getting loose.
Yeah, they got to clear out to make room for somebody to catch. He goes soft on 2-0, and that's the new Gio, not the old Gio. Gets a changeup in there. Good speed out there for the Dodgers. Counts even, 2-2.
So I asked Dave Roberts, I said, what do you like best about your ball club this year? He said, we don't quit. He said, I love my guys. We're in every game. We battle. We come back. We don't quit. Kind of seeing it right here in the 6th.
Your old friend Bob Guerin alongside there.
Yep.
Big pitch here, 2-2.
Another trip by Matt Wieters. He is trying to patch this thing together here in the 6th. You see Blake trying to get loose.
Yeah, the other thing this inning is doing is getting Gio's pitch count way up. Started this inning with 82 pitches. Two again. Bouncer, third base. Rendon has a play at first. A run scores, 1 out. It's 4-2.
Nice job of putting the ball in play by Gutierrez. Good play by Rendon, going to his left, righting himself. Do you see him peek out of the corner of his eye to check Chris Taylor at second base? A little sneaky look back there by Anthony Rendon as he was spinning to make the play. All in one motion, checked the runner back to second and threw to first. I didn't see that till the replay.
Gio has struck out Kike Hernandez tonight twice swinging.
I mean, I think if you're Gio, empty the tank right now, right? Looks like you're going 6 tonight, if you can get through this. So whatever it takes to be your own closer, get out of this.
Curveball, Kike Hernandez trying to hit one over the roof and left.
You know, and if you'd have told Gio before the game, hey, you're going to go 6 and leave with a 2-run lead, would you take that? Absolutely. So bear down right now. Get real tough here for the last 2 outs and hope your bullpen can hold a 2-run lead if that's how this whole thing shakes down. Lots of trips by Matt Wieters. He is. It's like the tower trying to talk in a pilot that's never landed a plane before right now. Calm him down. Talk you through it. This is what this button does. Don't touch this button. See Yadier Molina do this a lot.
2-1 pitch. In there. Remember, he was 2-0 on Gutierrez threw that changeup at 82 for a strike. Now he gets back even with it to Kike Hernandez. So close.
Same pitch that Ted Barrett called strike 3 on Chris Taylor. It was down. It wasn't a strike. And here comes the Dodger fans. Scoreboard says get loud.
Throws him a curveball, gets the comebacker. Looks the runner back to second, 2 down. Austin Barnes, the final hope for the Dodgers in this inning. Gio 6 1/3 Tuesday at San Fran. But he gave up 3 runs on 8 hits. Walked 3, struck out 8. Actually 6, pardon me. 5 strikeouts tonight. Couple of walks. Austin Barnes has had 2 good at bats. Base hit to right and a line drive to center. On the edge, strike 1.
Empty the tank, baby. Whatever you got left for 1 out. And then hope your bullpen can get 9 outs.
Curveball. Rendon. 3 ground ball outs for Gio to end the 6th inning and most probably his evening. Dodgers get a couple. Nats still lead by 2.
On here at Dodger Stadium, go to the top of the 7th inning. How about a Michael A. Taylor, Michael A. Tater yesterday in Oakland? Looked like he got a hanging curveball.
Touch them all.
That was in the 9th inning, way up the stairs. Look out! They put first base there, and everybody was giving him grief in the dugout. Davey Lopes telling him, look at the base, meat.
Number 7.
Washington, D.C. Lexus dealers donate $250 to the Children's National Health System for each of the first 200 home runs that Nats hit this season. Lexus, experience amazing.
Gio, helmet on. Coming out on deck. We'll see if that's a decoy or whatever.
Goodwin saying, dude, I'm going to take cuts right now. You're not hitting. Hey.
So, top of the 7th, curveball for a strike to Michael A. Taylor. Pitch number 93 from Hyun Jin Ryu. We weren't sure he was going to be around at this point. He's due to bat third in the bottom of the inning, so this is it for him. Nats box, the Rendon homer, first base runner, 2 outs, second inning. The Wieters heroics in the 4th, driving in 2 with 2 outs. And then Bryce Harper's opposite field single, the big blow of the 5th. Taylor looks at a fastball up. Jumping out to foul off that off-speed pitch. Enny Romero for the Nats. Trinan was up. Puig is their leadoff guy in the bottom of this inning. Taylor, fastball up, can't get it.
Sit on the Iron Throne and rule the 7 kingdoms on Game of Thrones night, Friday, June 23rd. Cincinnati Reds are in town. Yes, the throne will be at the ballpark. First 20,000 fans receive a Game of Thrones House Nationals t-shirt. Visit nationals.com/tickets for Game of Thrones night.
Something going on with the LA pitcher here. Honeycutt, catcher, interpreter. Brandon Morrow, one of the Dodgers' 7 right-handed relievers, have an 8-man bullpen, led of course by Kenley Jansen. Everything's okay. It's a lefty-lefty matchup here. So his 6 innings tonight, longest of the year. 6 1/3 now. He had gone 6 against the Rockies and at San Francisco. Starts number 3 and 4 back in April. 6 against St. Louis on the road last week in a 2-1 loss.
Well, he got demoted to the bullpen. I talked to Oral Hershiser before the game today, and he said his last start he was pitching like he didn't want to go back to the bullpen.
And Goodwin's going to drop a pinch hit into center field. Brian Goodwin is a pinch hitter now, 2 for 5.
I'm telling you, man, he's part of this ball club. I don't know how you send him back to AAA with what he's done. The 4-hit night, the home run, the double, his last 2 hits. Then he comes off the bench and hits a lefty for a base hit. Now you can use him anywhere. That's a big knock for his career, believe it or not.
7th Nationals hit. They've out-hit the Dodgers 7-4. Big spot for Trey Turner. Speed to burn at first base and in the box, and it's low for a ball. Trey last time with 1 out in the 5th. Dribbling base hit down the 3rd base line. Went to second on a wild pitch when he had the Dodgers thinking he was stealing. Scored on the Harper base hit. And he pulls one to left. Gutierrez back in front of the track for the 2nd out.
It's a day game homer.
When you have insight, you know how to handle your finances with confidence. It's all brought to you by PNC Bank. For the achiever in you, Jose Marmolejos from Perth Amboy, New Jersey. Born there, grew up in the Dominican. Doing a good job for the Harrisburg Senators right now. Last 22 games, just under 360. He was an undrafted free agent when the Nats got him at the age of 18 6 years ago.
It's a big league name. Call him up just for his name.
And by the way, two-time Nationals minor league player of the year. Up there hacking Rayburn, his 4th ground ball tonight. And the Nats go quickly in the top of the 7th inning. Fantastic hallway that leads to their clubhouse door. There's Dusty's Gold Glove from 1981. They got Hall of Fame jerseys, bats, you name it. Such an amazing display the Dodgers, with all their tradition, are able to put on.
That's the coolest trophy in baseball, in my opinion. They actually take your glove, your model, Rawlings takes it, and they dip it in gold. Or gold plated, whatever it is, but it's your glove. It's not just a glove on a trophy. It's the one that you use, your model.
Double switch for the Nats here. Enny Romero in to face Yasiel Puig, who faces him for the first time.
So fastball mid to upper 90s, cut fastball, changeup, occasional slider. Brian Goodwin in left after that base hit.
Leadoff walk hurt last inning. Gio 107 pitches, 63 strikes. 4 hits, 2 runs, 6 innings, 2 walks, 5 Ks. Ouch. Approaching the bottom of the order. And the leadoff man is walked. Brett Eibner is next.
That's all you can do if you're Dusty Baker, is bring in the guys you think are going to get the job done, but you have to throw strikes out of the bullpen. You have to. Whatever happened to Coda Glover, whatever you think about yesterday, whether he should have been in the game or shouldn't have been in the game, at least he threw strikes. He was going after the ace hitters. Maybe he wasn't ready for that inning after the Nats hit for a half hour, but oh my goodness, he almost threw it away. You have to throw strikes.
And maybe what Dusty is also doing here with a left-handed reliever, part of the strategy anyway, maybe to stay away from some of the left-handed bats the Dodgers have on the bench. But The back end of his bullpen is right-handed. Right now they got Yasmani Grandal on deck, the switch hitting catcher. Dodgers box nothing from an offensive standpoint until the 6th inning, when Forsythe walked, Seager singled, Taylor the double, then an RBI ground ball by Gutierrez. Scored 2, left 1 stranded. Two and two. Eddie Romero, last appearance, 4 outs at the end of the Nats' 10-4 loss in Oakland Saturday. Inning and a third, walked a couple, struck out 1. Way outside.
Dusty's going to be 98 by the end of the season.
Swing and a miss. Romero strikes back for the first out, 7th inning.
Talking to himself, firing himself up. I like it. Not like he's trying to throw balls, trust me. A little spin move after strike 3 at 97, and then all kinds of talking to himself after this one.
Here comes the Dodgers frontline catcher, Yasmani Grandal. Having a good year at 273. Maybe he shouldn't be real good at pinch hitting, but he is 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs. So sometimes when they give him a day off, he ends up hitting anyway.
Tremendous low ball hitter.
To center, and Taylor is right there. 2 outs. With more on the bullpen, here's Dan.
Bob, Dusty Baker was asked earlier today what his message to his relievers has been recently as they continue to try and get things turned around on a consistent level. He said throw strikes, pitch to contact, pitch to the situation. He wants his relievers to come in knowing exactly the spot and dictating their pitches and the way that they're attacking to those spots. He also then paused after saying all that and said, "And offense, get some more runs."
Well, I'm telling you, when your team's so good and you have one weakness and it's glaring, and it's been a weakness for a number of years, it frustrates the fans. But, you know, it's all you have to do is when you're real frustrated, take a peek at the standings, take a peek at a 10.5 game lead and 15 games over 500.
Yeah.
And that should calm you down a little bit and buy you some time to figure things out down there. Because I'm telling you, if they figure things out down there, this is a 100-win team.
Well, even with all the issues the Nats had, after Saturday's game was the 1/3 mark of the season, the Nats are on a pace to win 102 games, scuffling with the bullpen. The lead's 11.
11. It was 10.5 when we started.
There might be only one almost perfect team in baseball, and that's Houston. Don't know much about their bullpen. We'll play them soon. Haven't done any research on them really, but their starting staff is amazing, and they have a good offensive ball club. But every team has its flaw. There's one department on every ball club that you wish would be better. And when you're 35-20 and you have an issue to solve, that's better than being 20-35.
Nats is their bullpen and their broadcasters. Once they solve that, they're good.
Yeah, tighten up that radio side. We'll be just fine.
98 on the black. Good pitch.
Not ripping Charlie and Dave, just defending myself after that last statement.
Sorry. I was talking about me. You took that personally.
Okay, well,
you need to look in the mirror, partner.
You said plural, broadcasters.
I meant me, myself, and I.
And don't talk about Dan like that either. 2-2. Runner going. Swing and a miss. Eddie Romero, leadoff walk, and then boom, boom, boom. This one to the 8th inning. Speaking of that, Harper, Zimmerman, Murphy coming up.
Still mad about that walk. I like it.
Baseball break brought to you by T-Mobile. Well, the Braves getting some offense from their center fielder. We like this guy, Ender Inciarte, a 5-hit game. Last 2 weeks on fire. Houston Astros 41-16. They've won 10 in a row. They are blowing away the AL West. And for the Red Sox, Eduardo Rodriguez going to take it easy on that knee. Crucial for a pitcher. And so there's our look around the big leagues where there are unlimited baseball from T-Mobile.
I love that Ennie showed a lot of emotion after that walk when he got the strikeout. And watch Dusty Baker saying, way to go, and trying to fire up his lefty and instill confidence in him. So that's what I'm talking about. So what about the walk? He got right back in the strike zone, struck somebody out, and got out of the inning. Mike Maddox doing the same thing. And that's all you can do at this point if you're Dusty Baker and Mike Maddox. Tell them when they do good, praise them, raise their confidence up, and make them feel good about themselves.
Dodgers will do some maneuvering defensively here. Brandon Morrow, 32-year-old right-hander, has never faced Bryce Harper. Bryce RBI hit the other way. A beautiful job of hitting against the shift, going the other way for a big run back in the 5th. Nationals' most recent RBI. Kind of hard to tell you about defensive changes. Chris Taylor at third. Barnes from catcher to second, and Grandal from the bench, and a pinch hitting role to catch. Bryce takes that one up and away. So Logan Forsythe double switched out of the game. Hitters count 2-1 to Bryce. Looked like it was foul. Hit the line, it appeared, just before it got to the bag, and then made a slight right turn. Let's go inside the numbers, brought to you by Jeep. RBI guys under the age of 25. Michael Conforto having a great year for the Mets. Dodgers rookie year, the candidate here, Bellinger. So on the 25 and under team, Bryce is really doing well.
Doing well on any team.
He was like playing 18 and under when he was 13. Stuff like that. Always played up. 2-2. They want the pitch up, and Bryce goes up to get it.
Pretty sure he had that same beard when he was 13 too. You can't double switch a guy, Carp, into the game and then go into this shift, because I don't know where anybody is now.
Well, that's probably the idea.
Because Taylor was at second, now he's at third, but he's standing at second right now. So is he really at third or is he at second?
Yes.
That's a fair question.
I feel strongly both ways. Bryce strikes out, 8th inning underway. Next up, Zimmerman, then Murphy.
Pete Nance will be back in town on June 8th for a 7-game homestand. You can get a Pedro Severino bobblehead on June 10th. Stick around after the game for fireworks as the kids run the bases dodging the fireworks. That'll be fun. Visit PotomacNationals.com to purchase your tickets. Just go Roman candles at the kids around the bases.
All right, there's Chris Taylor at third. Brandon Barnes at second, took off the catching gear. Yasmani Grandal behind the plate. Here's Zimmerman. Ryan rips one right at Corey Seager. 2 quick outs. Nationals have 1 hit since the 5th inning and Bryce Harper's RBI. And now Daniel Murphy will face Morrow. 0 for 4 career against him.
Ryan hit a 14 hopper to second, and the second baseman wasn't there for a hit. And he just hit a 106-mile-an-hour ground ball to shortstop for an out. That's baseball.
It's madness, I tell you, it's mad.
It'll drive you nuts, trust me. It will.
Murphy 0 for 3 tonight.
I think Murph's talking to himself right there, not the umpire. You rarely see that.
Target in. Better get it in there, and he does with some depth to it. 0-2.
Nasty cutter. Watch this cut fastball drop late, right under the hands of Murphy. At 94.
Murphy skies one to the left side. Chris Taylor. 1, 2, 3. The Nats go in the 8th. Brought to you by American Standard Heating and Air. Go to MidAtlanticComfort.com for special offers and to find a dealer near you. That's my brain after about 6 innings of PA here. Look at that, LA. And Max Scherzer goes tomorrow. He's won his last 2 starts. One of them a near complete game. The other was leading the National League in strikes and opponent's batting average, second in ERA. Brendan McCarthy for the Dodgers, and he has started 2 games against the Nats. 0-1 with a very low ERA and opponent's batting average. 33-year-old for the Dodgers and Scherzer for the Nats. A drive to right center. That's a lefty-lefty. Seager against Romero. And the Dodgers have a runner in scoring position. So Enny Romero out there for a second inning of work. Nobody throwing in the bullpen, so he's got a couple of righties coming.
Tell you what, Corey Seager is such a good player. Everybody remembers him from last year in the NLDS. The guy that did some damage, Rookie of the Year. Talk to Dodger people. He's kind of just treading water right now. He had the same numbers last year this time and just went off in the second half to win Rookie of the Year. His numbers are actually a little bit better right now than they were at this time last year. Maybe there's just higher expectations.
Well, he's busted out of an 0 for 9 with 3 for 4 tonight. Here's Chris Taylor. Close to having 2 hits, but Harper threw out the runner in front of him on a drive to right field back in the 6th. Big RBI double last time. He goes up hacking, and this one will be unreachable for Bryce.
It's a good pull up by Bryce. Remember, he and the right field wall aren't buddies here a long time ago. In a land far, far away. Well, actually right here. Still one of the strangest plays I've ever seen in baseball history.
'89, and he takes a little bit off. And he's got Taylor in the 0-2 hole.
I think the only danger as a pitcher when you're throwing balls late in the game is, and I say this all the time, you go from trying to throw quality strikes to just strikes. And then when you throw just strikes, even if you're throwing 98, you get in trouble. You know, you get ahead, I can try to paint a corner or drop a slider on your back knee, but if I get behind, I'm just trying to throw it down the middle.
Swing and a miss, and a ball tailing away at 98. Enny Romero, 3rd strikeout.
But now I'm ahead, right? 2 strikes. I can paint the fastball away. I don't have to throw a ball down the middle. I can make it look like a near strike and be a little more fine because I'm ahead in the count. So the difference between being ahead, being behind, right there on 1 pitch from Enny Romero.
Well, these two have faced each other before, just once. Franklin Gutierrez against Enny Romero, 0 for 1 with a pop-up. Matt Albers. Gutierrez 0 for 3 with a ground ball tonight. 1 for an RBI, though, and that's in there.
Cutter, 91. Tell you what, Enny had that tough game in Atlanta. And he took it real hard. So if you want to know anything about Enny Romero, he really cares. I mean, everybody cares here, but he really, really cares. And he takes the tough ones, tougher than most. 99 right there, right?
No reaction time for Gutierrez.
So whenever you have a guy on your team, as Dusty Baker does, like Enny Romero, it makes you want to care about that guy and see him succeed. You'd want to about all your players, but the guys that really wear it hard when they fail, those are the guys you root for the most. You don't want to see them like that ever.
Swing and a miss, 2 down. He has struck out 3 of the last 4 and 4 out of 6. Facing Kike Hernandez now.
Atta baby, that's what I'm talking about. Right after him, 3-pitch see ya. A little 98, thanks for coming. And that ball just jumped late.
These two match up for the first time. Hernandez 0 for 3 against Gio tonight. 2 strikeouts, a grounder. Took a little bit off, 97.
Charlie Steiner asked before the game, who's your closer? And I said, hi, Charlie. I don't know. After Coda Glover threw all those pitches yesterday, I don't know.
Yeah, he threw 22. Sean Kelly threw 15. Swing and miss stuff here in the 7th and 8th innings.
I mean, look at the confidence, though. He's jumping back up on the mound. The walk really teed him off, and he's harnessed that energy in the right direction since. The double to Seager was on a slider, and it's been the express since. Maybe one cutter in there, but it's been pretty much fastballs.
Four-2 Nats, bottom of the 8th. How to play again.
I mean, he really doesn't need anything else. No fooling around with any other pitch. Just power him with the fastball. Maybe if you can elevate it here, you have one pitch to play with. I know it's Los Angeles, but there's just way too much production at this ballpark.
Close, and it's 3-2. Turner to his left in a bit. Little tricky hop at the end. Eddie Romero gets the Nats 6 huge outs to get this one to the 9th. Copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Washington Nationals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Washington Nationals. Beautiful shot of downtown LA. Masson Chopper on the entire trip out here. Eddie Romero, 2 innings, 4 strikeouts, handshakes. Hopefully it turns out to be a hold with somebody getting a save, unless the Nats put a bunch of runs on the board here. That's some good pitching there.
Smiles in the dugout, little knucks. I like it. Nice job, Eddie Romero.
Did it on 31 pitches, 19 strikes. Brandon Morrow still pitching for the Dodgers. That's high and tight to Anthony Rendon, who faces him for the first time.
Good take, just missed.
Rendon, Wieters, and Taylor. Two and 0. And breaking ball, stays up and away, ball 3. Four-pitch walk to start the inning. Matt Wieters is up next, and we know how good he is with runners aboard. Not in scoring position is Rendon here, but Matt Wieters, a lot of sock out of that number 7 spot with a couple of RBIs tonight.
Tell you what, Matt Wieters has been a sneaky good sign. Maybe not so sneaky, I don't know. I've only seen him play, what, about 6 times a year over the last few years,
Yeah.
and he did damage against the Nats, but when you get to see him every day, you start to appreciate everything he brings to the table. You know, his caring about the fingers he puts down back there. You know, the offense that he brings, the way he grinds out at bats, just, you know, his presence around the guys. I'm becoming a huge fan, and I really didn't know a whole lot about him being in the American League with the Orioles for so long.
Yeah, kind of banged up in 14 and 15, made a strong physical comeback, playing 124 games for the Orioles last year.
Kind of been an under the radar guy, right? With everybody else getting the props for, you know, Bryce and Zim and Murph.
Sure. And he's okay with that.
Bottom of the order, not right in the heart.
Remember when Adam Eaton was playing, this was your number 8 hitter, and he was getting it done. Number 7 for the most part lately, with Taylor batting 8th.
Yeah, he deserves a little on-air standing O for the job he's done so far this year.
0-2 battle here. 2 for 21 career against Brandon Morrow with a home run and 3 RBIs. Morrow, long time in the American League, Seattle, Toronto, San Diego the last 2 years, and now the Dodgers have picked him up. Target up. Well, Matt Albers appears to be the closer tonight. He has 2 saves. 5 guys in the bullpen have saved at least 1 game. Eddie Romero has 1, Albers 2, Turner 3. Pardon me, Trinan 3, Kelly 4, Glover 7. Meanwhile, good battle being waged here by Matt Wieters. Pitch up, got a piece of it.
Kershaw's leaving. Oh no, he isn't. I thought that was him walking up the aisle. My bad.
Maybe the second most fierce competitor on the mound in the league.
Ooh, I don't know. You flip a coin between the guy you're talking about, Max, and him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, right there. 2-2. Matt Wieters back in the count now.
Have they ever faced each other? Because that would be the game of all games. In game one, right? In the NLDS? It was Max and Clayton, wasn't it?
I think Kershaw, I'm not sure he pitched game one. They faced each other in the regular season before. 3-2. So Brandon Morrow's been tinkering around since the count was 0-2. And with a runner aboard, Rendon with good speed. Matt Wieters should get something to work with here. Kershaw, Scherzer, game one last fall.
I think so.
And Kershaw, of course, out of the bullpen, game 5. Rendon running. Wieters, high chopper between two infielders, and safe at second, safe at first. Barnes tried to get them both and got neither. Perfectly placed chopper for Matt Wieters.
That's a hit, right?
Should be.
Number 3, Michael Taylor.
I'm telling you, just putting it in play right there after all the foul balls with Rendon running was a bonus. Anthony hustling all the way. Barnes made the wrong decision, obviously. He tries to take it himself, so safe there. Don't challenge that. And what do we got at first? Safe easily at first, so I think I just heard fielder's choice in my ear from the scorekeeper.
Guess so.
It was definitely traveling if it was basketball.
Taylor, then Goodwin here. And a chance for Michael A. to take this game and just bust it open. Squares early, pulls the bat back, fastball outside.
Dusty will switch it up. Watch this. He's not afraid to, once it goes 1-0, to take off the bunt. I had some at-bats with Dusty where I was bunting the first pitch, swinging the second pitch, hit and run the third pitch, foul that off, fourth pitch back to a bunt, and get. I mean, you just can't think with Dusty when you're hitting. It's hard. He just, whatever comes to his mind, he'll throw it down.
You know, maybe he feels now the count's in Michael A's favor, more likely to get a good rip at a good pitch.
I like taking the bunt off here. 1-0. Let him hit.
Infielders don't like it a whole lot at the corners. Yeah. He probably swung at ball 2.
Now Bob Henley's going to have a talk with him. All right. Let's put that bump back on. Got it? All right.
Does that indicate he might have missed a sign?
Could. Not 100%. Could have been a deke by Bob Henley. Like what I said, he's hoping that they think that. He's swinging. No, he's bunting.
Top 9, Nats 4-2. Taylor kind of takes a stab down at it. 1 ball, 2 strikes. This is big. Barnes, Puig, and Eibner due up. Bottom of the 9th. Nats have a right-hander coming in. for the first time tonight. You can see one of the Dodger left-handed bats. So if you can avoid them getting one guy on and have the tying run hitting, that is big. So looking for add-ons here. Taylor swinging, and he takes it 2-2. Oliver Perez maybe with one of those 2 or 3 left-handers in mind. Could be a committee bottom of the 9th depending on what the score is. Taylor right center. Ball tailing back to Puig. Tagging is Rendon. Puig unleashes one. High bounce, too late. And Anthony Rendon gets to third on a productive out.
Anthony said, how was that close? Are you kidding me? So good at bat by Michael A. after.
The Dodgers already threw the ball to second base to appeal the early exit by the runner, but that's not the way you do it, right? The pitcher's got to do it and get on the mound and step off.
No, not if you leave early, you could just walk over there and touch the base. But maybe you have to get the ball in play. If there was time called, the ball has to be put in play. If time wasn't called, you just walk over and step on the base. It depends what happened after the play.
All right. They threw it over there immediately. Well,
so that must have meant the ball was in play.
Another big spot for Brian Goodwin. Pinch hit, left center, base hit last time. Coming off the day of his life 2 days ago. Now looking for RBI number 7.
Dodgers infield playing halfway, meaning if it's hit softly and they can't turn 2, they're coming home. If it's hit firm right at you, they're going to turn a double play up the middle.
Looking to elevate. It's Chris Hatcher. And Goodwin pops it up. Foul ground. Taylor. Big second out for the Dodgers. It's up to Trey Turner. Byron Kerr, Ray Knight in the studio tonight with Nats Extra Post Game, presented by W.B. Mason. Trey tonight 1 for 4, infield hit and a run scored. Seeing Brandon Morrow 60 feet away for the first time.
Taylor in on the grass at third to take away the bunt attempt. Why? Well, Trey's shown bunt on this road trip. So if you were a Dodgers advanced scout and you watched the Nats play, you saw Turner at least square around to bunt. And just that is pulling the third baseman in here with 2 outs. Opens up a hole over there.
High bounce it is short. They go the short way, and the Nats fail to add on, making the bottom of the 9th a whole lot more interesting. Alberzon, 2-run lead.
Any highlights? And they said, any highlights? I said, yeah. They said, of what? I said, of any.
Who's on first?
I said, the pitcher, any. They said, any pitcher? I said, no, any Romero. Give me some any Romero highlights. And I finally got it worked out. And you saw what he did. 2 innings, 4 strikeouts, no runs, gave up 1 hit, 31 pitches, 19 strikes. And we finally got it straight.
It's all about communication in this business.
I don't know.
And if you need expert printing, the UPS store has you covered. Together, there's nothing we can't solve. It's Dusty Baker's UPS store. Call to the bullpen. And Matt Albers on the receiving end. Barnes, Puig, and Eibner are scheduled, but Chase Utley's going to lead off the inning as here come some of that left side of the Dodgers bench.
The first batter faced. Decent numbers. Last time he pitched in San Francisco, his sinker was ridiculous. And if he has that same one here tonight, good luck. And here comes that guy from Game 4. What's his name? Chase something?
In all those years on the turf at not Veterans Stadium, but Citizens Bank Park in Philly, Chase Utley. Utley 0 for 2 career against Matt Albers. As a pinch hitter this year, 2 for 10. Matt on the attack, strike 1. Trying to earn his 3rd save as a Nat. It's a lot of games against one opponent. Wow.
Aggressive. I like it.
Trying to run that fastball back. Chase Utley has never hesitated to take one of those on the elbow either to get down to first base. Although I don't see him wearing a guard on that.
That was a get him off the sinker away pitch. He's going right back out there, you think. He goes slider in here if he wants, but that sinker away is why he threw that pitch. You're going back in there.
1-2 count. Hooking foul.
I think of Chase Utley like Daniel Murphy. He's hard to get in on. He hangs out over the plate because he can handle the inside pitch a lot like Murph.
One and 2 to the leadoff man, bottom 9. Got him! Breaking pitch, cutting in on the left-hander, and Utley couldn't pull the trigger. 1 out.
Dave Roberts is chirping. He is frustrated. That's the second time tonight one of his hitters got rung up on a ball.
Wow.
And Dusty Baker, Matt Albers will take it.
Yasiel Puig next. Well, that's huge because now this big, strong guy can't tie the game. Up the middle. Ball slowed down. Murphy, 2 down. And we'll get our first look at their Rookie of the Year candidate, Cody Bellinger.
But different teams have different philosophies, but I always like taking a strike when you're down by 2. Dave Roberts probably striking his head or shaking his head about the strikeout call. But I think Yasiel Puig, unless he represents a tying run, has to take a strike right there.
Agreed. That's 1 out away from a 6-1 road trip. Bellinger, first pinch hitting appearance of the season. 252, 12 homers, 31 RBIs for this 21-year-old out of Chandler, Arizona. Off-speed pitch to Ano. Big swing.
Trying to hit a 2-run homer with nobody on. Yeah, he doesn't get cheated. He's got a lot of Jock Peterson in his swing. Uppercut, maybe less leg kick than Jock has. Different frame, obviously, but he does not get cheated. The numbers bear that out.
There's the injured Jock Peterson. 2-1. And there's a guy with power on deck who's hurt the Nats in the past.
I think this is an automatic take. I really do. When you're down by 2, just bet that he throws your ball 4. He's going to throw you the same pitch 3-2. I would put on a take sign if I was Dave Roberts here.
He's going to drill one out to center. Extra bases for Cody Bellinger. And this one is not over yet. They're going to call back Grandal, bring in Adrian Gonzalez, and maybe Oliver Perez comes into play here. Had they announced him already? Surely Dusty wouldn't come on until that had happened.
Well, Grandal's a switch hitter, so he's just going to put a different helmet on and hit, and Gonzalez is going to be on deck.
Got it. Because that's where the pitcher spot is. Some drama. Not done yet. Grandal will switch to the right-handed stance, hitting 179 on that side. Grandal, by the way, career 2 for 8 against Oliver Perez, who makes his 16th appearance.
Well, you know the arsenal of Oli Perez. You see what lefties are hitting against him, but Grandal going to turn around there right-handed, and the numbers are glaring. It'll tell you exactly why Dusty Baker made the move. Grandal from the right side, 179 with 1 home run. From the left side, 301, 5 homers, 22 RBI. So Dusty Baker's got the matchup he wants. Dave Roberts has no right-handers on his bench.
Oliver Perez, in 15 years in the big leagues, has 2 saves. Second base, Bellinger. All that matters is the pitcher batter here. Up hacking, strike one. A strike away.
Don't have to do it on this pitch if you're Ali Perez. Got some room to work with expanding the zone if you'd like to. You don't have to throw a strike for at least 2 pitches.
Fastball up, popped up. Weeder's back. No room.
It's too good a pitch, 0-2.
Yeah.
Way too good. And Matt Weeder's going to run out there and have a chat with Ali. Hey, you got a 0-2 count. Don't be in a hurry to get in the clubhouse right here. Don't be in a hurry to shake hands. Think about the process and what pitch you need to bear down on to get an out. Not the last out of the game for a save and a win. What do I have to execute here to get the batter out? And maybe it's not even this pitch.
Goes with the backdoor breaking ball. Emergency hack by Grandal to stay alive. One ball, 2 strikes. Curveball stays up and away.
All right, now you got to go to work.
Got him looking. Game over. Grandal totally shocked by that pitch. And the Nats have a 6-1 trip.
You know why he was shocked? He quick pitched him. He didn't do any of the Louis Tion turnaround stuff. He just basically went slide step and rushed the curveball on Grandal. Watch the delivery from Perez. Just a quick pitch. And it was by him. He couldn't pull the trigger for a big 3rd strike. The Nats go to 6-1 on the road trip, folks. 6-1 on the West Coast swing. Unbelievable win here in Dodger Stadium. And now, Dodgers, you get Max Scherzer and Steven Strasburg back-to-back.
Gio Gonzalez goes to 5-1 on the year. Oliver Perez, 3rd career save. He's been in the big league since 2002. Rendon deep early, some offense later, and the Nats hold on to win it 4-2. Tomorrow night, we'll get you going at 9:30 with Nats Extra pregame. This has been a presentation of Masson.